This is my first time working with Tarka one-on-one at the Weber County Animal Shelter. I didn't try doing this training until after almost 2.5 hours in playgroup. I really wanted to focus on just practicing something new to get his mind working. Most dogs really thrive off of some sort of mental stimulation every day. I really wanted to practice some place, which is a bed command, mostly because Tarka has a really hard time staying still. I was sure he had gotten all of his exercise out during playgroup this day, so that's why I was pretty confident that he could at least hold place for a few seconds at a time. Although 15 minutes may not seem like a very long time for a training session, it's actually a pretty long stint of time to do training for, but since I only had some limited time, I wanted to really make the most out of what we had. So I gave Tarka a couple short breaks here and there in the 15-minute span. You'll notice I'm using a clicker, and I normally don't actually use clickers in training because I find that I can just use my voice to mark certain things. It's easily transferable to another person. I'm still praising him and, we're still working together. But like I said, I'm not really used to using a clicker during training, so it is a little clumsy here and there. It still goes to show just how good of a dog he is, even though I'm kind of clumsy in my handling here and there. If you just noticed, he was looking at a car, and he actually has a really hard time not chasing cars. He also noticed those people and stayed, so I'm just rewarding him for all of those good choices. When he looked at the car, he looked at me. Here again, he's looking at the car, and then he looked at me. There's just a lot going on that he would normally be going after or chasing and barking at. I really want to recognize that he's not doing, and that actually helps calm him down a lot. Even though a lot of people like to think that running around can feel good to a dog, it totally can. It's just up to a certain level, and after a while it becomes almost neurotic, and it just increases their stress levels instead of bringing them down. So I just really wanted to focus on working that stillness with him and showing him that there's a different way of being. He did a good job not even barking or chasing it. He just watched it go by. That's why I clicked him a bunch of times, and then I dropped a bunch of food on the bed for him to find. This is another tool that I'm using to help him calm down. Tossing food down for him encourages him to use his nose, which then helps dogs calm down. The other thing you'll notice is that I am not using any kind of stay command, and that is because I like to use what's called an implied stay, which means I've asked the dog to, for example, sit. I want them to stay like that until I tell them. It's just a lot easier, honestly, because you don't have to use a double command. I just say sit, and then I make sure to use free as a command to let him go. You can see he's really happy to just be working with me, honestly. He's such a great dog. He literally just wants someone to work with him. Even though he likes his exercise in the yard, he is still very much wanting collaboration with a person. I can see him very happily working for his food every day. So here I'm trying to work on that stay command and trying to make it last a little bit longer, and I really think I just was pushing my luck a little bit, moving too fast. I should have waited at least 1 or 2 more sessions before doing that next step of difficulty, which is dropping a piece of food behind me while he holds his sit. I still just hold him accountable and put him back in his sit with his leash, and then I'd wait for a little bit of eye contact and reward him again to let him know that the sit is worth staying in it, even though there's a piece of food over there. I wanted to kind of counterwork the idea that I'm not always going to drop it behind me, even though it looks like it. Like I said, I just kind of rushed ahead with the stay by trying to make it too difficult too quickly. Like I said, this is literally the first time we've ever worked on anything like this. Then I still release him for him to get to go find what he wanted to go find. I did start naming the place command already, and that's mostly because I could really tell that I could pretty much guarantee that he was going to step on up there. He was really focused and wanting to just kind of work with me, even with these distractions outside. And you can hear all the noise going on, and you've seen cars come and go. He is still so focused for some food. It's really mostly just kibble, a couple high-value pieces here and there. He really is just eager to be paid attention to in a way that he enjoys. What I did just there, called a scatter feed, I basically just tossed a bunch of kibble in the grass for him to sniff out, which again gives him that chance to use his nose and sniff out some food and decompress after possibly some stress. That's kind of one of the little breaks that we took during the session. He really lasted for a long time. That's what I would have called one session at home and then pull him out later. Here we are practicing some more stays. As you can see, the distractions are just very small. Jumping up and down in place. Can your dog stay while you jump up and down right in front of them? Or do they get all excited and start jumping too? Because if you've asked them to sit, especially if you've asked them to sit, stay, your dog should be able to at least do that, right? And it's not that we're trying to be mean if they don't, but we want to communicate to them that that's not what we want, and then definitely still reward those small steps. A lot of people forget to reward the small steps and then get frustrated at their dog for not knowing how to stay for 5 minutes on end. Here it looks like we've hit the part where I tried to kind of do some loose leash walking with Tarka. He pulls really bad on the leash normally, and you gotta give him credit. It's because he's been in his kennel since about noon the day before, and he needs to go to the bathroom, and he's excited for the day. It's just something to keep in mind. But as you can see here, he is already walking really nicely. It's not like I'm holding a treat over his nose the whole time. I know it looks like that, but it's mostly me trying to present the food for him because he doesn't understand yet how to take food out of my hand from being in that position right next to me instead of in front of me. And so that's just something that we work through. Here we were also working on some eye contact exercises because especially shelter dogs, they end up looking at your hands a lot. That's where a lot of good stuff comes from, and I don't want him to feel like he can't look at my eyes, of course. So the way we do that is that first we just start, as you can see, just by guiding his eyes up to my eyes. And within a few sessions you should absolutely be able to start putting a treat in each hand and putting them out to the side. I like to maybe start with just some kissy noises or something to help them to look up. But once you have a session or two of that practice of guiding their eyes up, they should have a general idea that that is also a good thing to do. As you can see, we really started to level up this place command. Even though he makes small mistakes, as you can see, all I have to do is step back into him to let him know that that wasn't the right answer. He's happy to comply. He's actually happy to know from me that that was the wrong choice so that he can make the right choice. And we've even moved away from me just immediately rewarding him after making a mistake like that because he's very capable and I want him to realize that. And if I just continuously correct him back onto his place and reward him every single time, he might even feel like making the mistake is the right thing to do so that he can get an extra treat.
Yeah, good man. Good place.
That distraction was just a little too much. I think it's just because the upper half of my body got a little lower, and that's very exciting because that's what I do to call him over. So we just practice again and I show him that what the right option is. As you can see, they're just very small steps, but this builds a big picture for him.
Good place.
And then I always use the free command to let him know he can get off. As long as I keep that consistent, he's going to get a very clear picture very quickly.
Free. That's the way. Place.
As you can tell, Tarka is actually really trainable and really eager to work with someone for some food. I'm sure if you build up some work around playing, he would love to also play. Tarka has been at the shelter since early October actually, and that was after he got returned because he was not a good match with a previous adopter. The Weber County Animal Shelter is trying their very hardest to stay a no-kill shelter, but the lack of space is really starting to encroach on them and they need to start making some difficult decisions soon. Tarka has unfortunately already been on that list before, so I really would hate to see him be on the euthanasia list for space if it does come down to that. So please like and share so we can find the perfect home for him. I also have a few more videos like this coming soon of 2 more dogs that I wanted to do the same kind of work with because they've been at the shelter for quite some time now, just like Tarka, and they're great dogs. They don't deserve to be here as long as they have been. They keep getting overlooked, and hopefully these videos can help spread the word.